Hey everyone, it's Patty from pspapercrafts. It's another Friday Fun Fold. Thank you for joining me. Today we are making a fan fold card, and I think it's really beautiful. Of course, not my original idea. I got this, I saw a few of them. So Lisa Curcio made it in 5x7. So for those of you who like the 5x7, you can go watch Lisa. She does amazing work. And then I did find Delight of My Art, and her name is Deb Joy Smeek. She kind of made it a A2 size. So this is a 4.25 by 5.5. Those fit into our medium envelopes. And then I wanted to change it up a little bit. So I took kind of both of their videos, and then I played with it. Deb didn't have a white layer between, so I kind of worked it out to get the white layer. Lisa did have the layer between, so again, I kind of watched both of them and came up with my own version of it. So isn't this beautiful? You've been on my mind, and when you open it up, you have this little area to write, and I just think it's really just so pretty. The paper that I used is one of our new papers. You know me, I love my florals. So this is Florals in Bloom, and this is a brand new paper from, I don't know if it's from the catalog or from the online exclusives. So many things went live on the same day that I don't always know where the stuff is coming from. But if you go online to the store, you can find it. And I'll have links in my project sheet for the supplies. So I have a project sheet at the bottom, underneath the video. There's a description with a whole bunch of links in there. Look for the project sheet, and then in there you'll have all the links to my store where you can purchase these. I use the Beautiful Motifs stamp set for this, and I'm going to use it again because I think these are great. Thank you for everything. Thinking of you, celebrate, wishing you love and happiness that lasts a lifetime. So it kind of covers a lot of different events. So let's get started. Of course, we're going to use different paper and different, well, it's the same stamp set. And this is also new paper. And let me make sure I say this right. This is Kintsugi Inspirations. And I had to look up this word because I'm not familiar. And Kintsugi is Japanese, and it's an art form that they use to repair broken ceramics. So it's joining with gold. And if you look at the paper, we're going to use this and this today. But if you look at the paper, there's these beautiful, and I don't have the stamp set, but see all the gold in here? It's really gorgeous. And there's some pages with pots. See this? Isn't that pretty? And I'm sure there's a die that cuts this out. I have to go get the, I didn't buy everything. I always buy all the paper first because I love the paper, the designer series paper. And then I add back in the other products. But you can even, oh, actually, do these punch out? Oh, I thought it punched out. I'm sure it die cuts, or you can actually cut them because they look very easy to cut. But aren't they beautiful? So this is the, repairing broken ceramics with gold lacquer. That's the meaning anyway. So you didn't think you were going to have a lesson here on the meaning of this word, did you? But it's just gorgeous. I mean, look at this. That is so pretty. It looks like a patchwork of mountains or something. So I think that might be all of them. But I think this is going to be a fun paper to use. So we're using that, and then we're going to use the same stamp set. Let me have all my papers. There's a lot of papers that we're using for this. So again, don't worry about writing down the measurements. There's a lot of measurements, and I might be off by a fraction here or there. I may have to correct it because I really played a lot with scrap paper to come up with the sizes and the layers and all of that. So the first thing, we have a half a sheet of cardstock. This is our card base. Let me get my trimmer out. So we are going to score this. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, and we'll score it at 4.25. Pretty standard, right? So we'll just score this. Let me make sure I'm in here. And then what we want to do is we're going to cut. So we're going to measure from here over to 2. What am I doing? From here over to 2.5. So I'm going to put this right in here. You can use a ruler, and I'm going to go right to 2.5 right here, and I'm going to make a little mark here. And then we're going to put that mark in our track and put this point, and make sure I'm in here. So we're going to go from that mark down to this point and cut it off. Okay, right like this. And we are going to keep this because we're going to use this. This is this piece, this back piece. Okay, so hold on to that. We're going to have a lot of extra pieces, but that one we're holding on to. So let's put this aside a little bit because we have some more cutting, lots of cutting to do. And let's just get our bone folder out and fold this. Okay, next up is a piece of white, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure and mark. So we're going to measure out from the score line to 2.5. Make sure this is all lined up. 2.5. We're going to come down here. We're going to put this in the track and the point in the track, close it up. And I like to cut, I don't like to cut into the point, so I'm going to cut down this way. Okay, this one, I don't think we're going to use that. We probably could use it and cut it down a little bit, but erase this. Let me see if I need to erase this one as well. I don't think you can barely see it. Okay, so this is going to sit here. And then we're going to do this another time. And this one is 3 3/4 by 5. So we went down 1/4 on each one. Same thing, we're going to line it up right into the groove. We're going to measure at 2.5 and put a little mark there. We're going to go from the mark down to the point. So it's easy, right? You just have to do all the steps. And this, no, we're not going to use this because we need the other side. So that you can use if you're going to make another card at some point. Let's erase this. And this will sit on here. Now, if you don't want to have the white layer, then you just cut your designer series paper the same size as the white, and then you're done. Okay, so that's that. Let's do the inside. Now the inside, we have a 4 by 5 1/4 of white, and I'm going to just lay this on right on top of it. 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to come in, and maybe I'll put the white on top so I could see it better. Okay. Whoop. Not sure what he was barking at, but okay, so we have them layered on top of each other. We're going to come out to 2.5. So every one of them is 2.5. And then we're going to do the same thing from this pencil mark down to the corner. And this one, we want to make sure we cut it through. It's 2 layers, so make sure you pull it, yep, to see. Okay. Now I'm hoping we can use this piece again. We have to cut it down. So this will be the inside. I'm sorry, we are going to use that piece. We're going to use this and this, and I'm thinking I can use this for this back layer. We're going to get to that though. So these will go together, and then this will come inside, and this will go like this. Actually, I did that wrong. We want a full piece of white. Let me get a full piece of white. So, see, I spent so much time on this, I got myself a little confused here. So we want this to be on, so I probably want this to be smaller. Okay, let me get a white. Bear with me. So this needs to be cut down a little bit because I want the border around it. If you don't want the border, this is the way to go. But let me just cut this. So we're going to just cut 1/4 of an inch off. So you don't need to layer it. We'll use this for something else. That's a good piece of scrap. You could always have white scraps, right? And then this will come like this. I think I did it the other way on one of my test cards. All right, so let's put some of this together and then we'll move on to the fan parts, okay? Just so we're moving along here easily. So, and I'm going to use my liquid glue. I've been using the seal, but I want to get these all lined up nicely. So I think on this card, I'll just use liquid glue. So we'll just put this down. And I think this paper is so pretty. I love like Japanese, you know, like the ornamental designs, the florals and things like dogwood trees kind of remind me of that. I think they're beautiful. And then this will go here. And then this. So before we put this down, if you were to put an inside sentiment, you want to stamp it, but you want to lay this down first so you know where to stamp it. So let me just make sure this is going to be right in here. Yeah. So you want to make sure that the white isn't showing. And it should work out if you cut over two inches like we've been doing, or 2.5 inches. Okay. Sorry for that. So it's probably good to watch this and not follow me as I'm doing it because I do make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But it's only paper, right? So that's what I like about it. You can always use it, although you hate to, you know, ruin your designer series paper. But, and then we'll just do this. I don't like to put a lot of glue on. So we've got the base of our card done, and now we can do our fancy fan here. Okay. What do you think so far? Good? All right, so now we have to make this piece and this piece. And so this piece is what was cut from here, and this works perfectly for this background to this one. And then we want the other, you want the white, so let me give you the dimensions as we go. So you're going to cut a piece of white, and this will be, let me look at my thing. This is 2 1/4 by 5 1/8. And all we're going to do is cut it in half diagonally. And for the white and the cardstock layers, it doesn't matter which way you cut it, if you cut it this way or this way. But for your designer series paper, it does matter, especially if there's a directional pattern. So we're going to just put this down. I don't like to cut starting at the corners, so we're going to put it down toward the middle and come down. And then this will layer onto here nicely. Okay, now we want to do the same. So this wider fan is different than this paper. So this is the same designer series paper, and then this is the wider layer, and that's going to be this. So I'm thinking that this is going to be 1 7/8 by 4 7/8. So let me see if we can get 1 7/8 out of this. No. I'm just thinking we could use this somehow. Let me see. 1 7/8. By 4 7/8. Let me just see if there's something we can do to make this work. I feel like it should. 1 7/8. because we're going to cut it. Yeah, I think it'll work. Okay, that almost looks like that would work. That would be amazing, right? It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit too short maybe. Let's just do it from here. So then we're going to cut this one right down, and I hope I'm in camera here. So we're just going to go point to point. And again, I don't like to start in the point with my, sometimes it just pushes it instead of cuts it. So we put our blade somewhere up there. And this, I should have done it the other way. See, this corner is cut off. But for this pattern, it doesn't matter. So let's see. So see, yeah, this is a little longer. And then this will go like this. So for me, I like the white, because if you didn't have the white, it would look like this. And I think it just gets lost. I feel like the white like really makes it jump out. So these pieces will go together. Then we have pieces that are, I have this is, let me just look at I have so many notes here because I did this so many times. This is 1.5 by 5.5. Let me make sure if that's right. 1.5, let's see, 1.5 by 5.5. And the same thing, we're just going to cut it right in half on the diagonal, point to point. And again, with this, it's solid. It doesn't matter which direction. So that is going to go, that's this piece. And then we don't need this. This you could use for another card. Our white piece is, where is it? 1.25 by 5.25. And again, I'm going to have this all written down for you, so don't worry about it. There's a lot of measurements and directions. So again, we're going to move this up. It's hard when it gets narrow to not move it when you're moving your fingers. So do your best. And that will go here. And this we could use for another card. And then this piece, it probably doesn't matter because it's not directional. And by directional, I mean like this. So you wouldn't want it upside down or sideways. So you want to go from this top left to the bottom right if it is directional. So this one is 1 by 5. Okay. And I just don't want to move it. Okay, let's see if that worked out. And then this, yeah, I could use, so I could make another whole card with these. And that will fit here. Okay, so I think we're done with our cutting. So it is easy once you have all the measurements and all of that down. And again, I'm going to use liquid glue because I want to make sure that I get all the way down to that point here. And I have time to maneuver it if I need to. I used quite a lot of scrap paper for trial and error for these cards, but that's okay. All right, and the dogs down the street are barking up a storm. There must be somebody walking by. All right. So I had such a busy weekend this past weekend. It was Mother's Day, of course, and it was my son's birthday. It actually fell on Mother's Day. He turned 40, and we had a surprise party for him on Saturday, and then we did Mother's Day on Sunday. So it was a lot of family time, a lot of food and fun. So I had a great one, but it was a long weekend. So I'm glad to be back home and just taking it easy a little bit. So there we go with this. I did babysitting overnight to boot, so, you know, it was all day Saturday night babysitting. And then I was up early on Sunday morning because I had to teach Sunday school at my church. And then I went back down for Mother's Day. So there's a lot of running around. My kids are about 40 minutes from me, so I feel like I make that trip on a regular basis. All right, so now we have our pieces at our card. And the way we're going to put this down is this piece, we're going to put it down like in the corner, and we want it to go kind of edge to edge here. That's what we're shooting for. Okay? And we're going to put it down with dimensionals, but we don't want to put anything here. So what both Lisa and Deb, I'm looking for her name, did was they opened the card and they drew a pencil line. And now we want to put our dimensionals down here. So let's get our dimensionals out. It might be hard for you to see it, but I can see it nicely. And we'll just put a bunch of dimensionals out or down on it. And they use the mini dimensionals toward the bottom. I'm just going to cut them. So where are my scissors? We'll just cut these up a little bit. For some reason, I'm not a big fan of the mini dimensionals. I don't know why, because lots of people use them, but I do more cutting. Okay, and then we want to erase this. Nobody will probably see it anyway, but just to finish it off and make sure it's all nice. And then we can take the backings off. So you'll have lots of these kind of pieces left over. But again, I think you can use it to make another kind of card, or another one of these cards if the pieces work. Okay, so again, we're going to kind of line it up. Before you press down, let's make sure this is over where it should go. Okay, and then this piece is going to go up here, so it goes up a little bit, and you want it to be like equal with these sides. So we're going to do the same thing. Is that right? I keep moving it. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to open it up, draw a line. I mean, you could probably eyeball this one because it's really up at the top, and then put our dimensionals down below the line. That's a little close. So I hope you all had a nice Mother's Day, those of you who did something special. I know it's a hard day for some people, for a lot of people. So I hope it wasn't too much of a struggle. I still have my mom. She's, let me erase this. She's 93. She'll be 94 this year. So I'm hoping to see her. I'm trying to get her to come up here. She lives in Florida, but I'm trying to get her to come up here in June, and then I'll go down maybe in July. I miss her. I lived right next door to her when I lived in Florida, so I do miss her. My sister lives with her now. So we're just going to lay this up here. Again, we're not going to put it down till we know the point is kind of in the right direction. Isn't that gorgeous? With the gold. So pretty. I was going to just stamp this in the blue, but maybe I should emboss it in gold. What do you think? So this is You've Been on My Mind, and it is in Misty Moonlight, because that's one of the colors in here. But let's emboss this. So I just have this little piece of paper. It's just, and I'm just, you know, it's just a scrap I had, and it's 1 1/4 and this fits nicely on it, and then I'll trim it down. And I just thought it was nice having a just nothing fancy, just a plain, you know, little rectangle here. So let me get my Versamark, and we're going to ink this up, and we're going to heat emboss it right here, and you won't be able to see it. So the Versamark ink is just like a sticky ink. It gives you a watermark if you're using it on like a colored cardstock. On white, you can't see it. And let's get our stuff out. Oh, I should have wiped it first with this. This is the embossing buddy that you can wipe it to make sure there's no static. And we've got all these things, all the things. And we have this new embossing powder. So this is gold. And it's really is amazing. So you can put it in this little tray here, and then this opens up here to pour it back into the bottle. A bottle will last you probably a lifetime. I mean, it's just amazing. So you just want to get any excess off. You have this little paintbrush if you need to get any of it off. I'm going to just put this aside and get out my heat tool and heat it up, and hopefully you can watch it melt. I'll silence it so you don't have to hear it. Now you know it's done when it's all shiny, but isn't that pretty? You've been on my mind. And I'm just going to cut it down. So this is not like a measured size. It's just, I'm going to cut it where I think it should be cut. The first time I saw heat embossing, I was like blown away. I just thought it was the coolest thing. So now let's put something gold on this. So these are brand new. On this one, I used pressed flower motifs. I don't know why I say that wrong. And I don't know if you could see it, but there's a little flower in there. And then this one is flower accents. And this is a brand new one. So I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like the same kind of thing, only it's gold. So let's get, we're just going to put one on. Should I do the little one? Right there. Oh, I didn't even put it down yet. So let's get some dimensionals and put this on the card. And then we're done. So again, I didn't put any kind of inside sentiment. I'm going to just put one of these little guys here. Probably overdoing it, but more is better, right? More is less. Less is more. All right. And then we'll just put this right here. And these are your fan fold cards. I think they're really beautiful. You've been on my mind. And the same thing here. And what else? So this is from my May calendar. Every Friday I do a fun fold card. So we're at the 16th, make a fan fold card. And next week we'll make a triple balcony fold card. Oh, I better get started on that. That sounds complicated. If you want this calendar, it's just some ideas. I kind of do the color combo, some sketches and fun folds this end of the week. And then these are just for you to have ideas and inspiration to make something different. If you want this, you can get it for free every month if you subscribe to my email list. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Have a good week. Take care.